New tonight, a tragedy befalls the Wilmington Fire Department. Plus, an officer accused of beating a handcuffed teen has been charged, and why SNAP benefits here in Delaware could see more cuts in the coming months. Those stories and much more straight ahead tonight on DETV News. Hello and welcome to DETV News. I'm Matt Ford. Thanks for joining us tonight. Making headlines today. A 3-year-old son of a Wilmington firefighter was struck and killed on the Wilmington riverfront over the weekend. Officials say a group of off-duty Wilmington firefighters, family members, and friends were gathering just before 10 a.m. Sunday for a walk to honor 3 city firefighters killed in the line of duty at a structure fire on the same day in 2016. In a statement, officials said that the child, the son of an off-duty firefighter, was struck by a vehicle driven by another off-duty firefighter trying to park to take part in the memorial event. The boy was taken to Wilmington Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Wilmington Mayor Michael Przicki said in a statement that he was profoundly saddened by what he called the devastating incident affecting our firefighting family. He said on an already somber day, the department once again found itself heartbroken and mourning a life taken much too soon. And Newcastle County Police are investigating a suspicious death after the body of a woman was found this morning by a carousel parking lot. Detectives closed the Skyline Drive parking lot as they investigated, placing numerous evidence markers around the area. Police have not yet identified the woman, but area residents said that they were concerned it was a 63-year-old neighbor who did not show up to work Monday morning. Officials will perform an autopsy to identify the woman and determine the cause of death. And in other news, a suspended state trooper accused of beating a handcuffed teen faces multiple charges. It was announced by State Attorney General Kathy Jennings just this afternoon. The 15-year-old had pranked the officer's house in Ellesmere last month. In a joint announcement with this Delaware State Police, Jennings said 29-year-old Dempsey Walters was on duty when his girlfriend heard a loud bang at their front door. A group of teenagers, including the victim, ran from the house but were later caught by Walters and responding departments. While the boy was sitting handcuffed in the back of a patrol car, Walters turned off his body camera and punched him in the face, fracturing his eye socket.
As a mother and grandmother, the footage in this case is hard to watch. As a prosecutor, the constitutional violations are stunning.
Camera by Dempsey recorded 30 seconds of video after he had turned it off, with enough time to capture the attack. Walters is charged with second-degree assault, deprivation of civil rights, 2 counts of third-degree assault, and 2 counts of official misconduct. Walters was suspended without pay the day after the incident with intent to dismiss, said Jennings. Delaware State Police Superintendent Colonel Melissa Zebley apologized to the victim, his family, and the community.
He never worked for 1 more minute as a Delaware State Trooper following his actions that evening.
The man is charged with breaking into several parked vehicles in the Newark area and getting away with stolen cash, payment cards, and some electronics. State police said one of those cards was used at a local supermarket, which provided a surveillance image. A suspect vehicle was found at a convenience store, and 35-year-old Ramon Shai, seen here of Wilmington, was arrested after a chase on foot. The break-ins occurred early Saturday at 3 hotels and an assisted living facility in the Newark area. The targeted vehicles were locked, but police said their windows were smashed in order to gain access. Police listed numerous charges against Ramon Shai. He was being held at Howard R. Young Correctional Institution on $14,000 secured bond. And 2 men are behind bars following an investigation into sales of fentanyl in Newcastle County. County police say 27-year-old Aaron Barrett and 53-year-old Hayward Miller, both of Wilmington, were identified as suspects. 775 lethal doses of fentanyl were seized, as well as some crack cocaine, as well as a handgun. The search warrant was carried out at an apartment belonging to one of the suspects. Miller was arraigned by the Newcastle County Court of Common Pleas and held in lieu of $83,000 cash bail. Barrett was arraigned by the Newcastle County Court of Common Pleas and held in lieu of $67,000 cash bail. Delaware State University has brought back a familiar face to run the university's police department. James Overton ran the department nearly 20 years ago. He has replaced Chief Bobby Cummings, the former Wilmington police chief who ran Del State's force for about 2 years. Cummings retired last year after a stormy period on campus, which saw students protesting campus safety and how sexual assault cases were handled. Overton was one of the first sworn officers on campus in the year 2000. He became chief in 2005. The department grew from 6 to 14 officers during his 6 years. A Del State graduate, Overton became chief of police at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, where when he left Del State, he was more than 30 years of law enforcement experience under him. To weather now, erosion caused by Delaware Beach tropical storms Ophelia is still being assessed. Beaches were lashed by steady winds and large waves, and Ophelia is the kind of storm that did not discriminate. That's according to DENREC officials. DENREC said that the storm showed the value of recently completed beach nourishment projects that we told you about that happened in Rehoboth, Dewey, Bethany, and Fenwick Island. Protective dunes largely held up against the ocean. Rehoboth beach crews spent Monday clearing sand that piled up at beach entranceways. Many tree limbs also came down during the storm. It's also possible that more sand could be displaced as northeasterly winds continue. And speaking of weather, it's time for those leaves to begin falling as autumn is officially upon us. With that, Wilmington's annual leaf collection program begins Monday, October 16th, so mark your calendars. The Department of Public Works will collect leaves on specific days in specific neighborhoods through December 15th. Sweeper or vacuum trucks will collect leaves from the street in designated areas. Residents must sweep all leaves into the street next to the curb for collection. Since not all streets can accommodate the city's leaf vacuum vehicles, residents in those areas should put their leaves in brown paper bags and place the bags at the curb for pickup. Public Works crews will pick up the leaves along with any other yard waste on Wednesdays. You can access the collection schedule at wilmingtonde.gov/leaf collection. And Delaware farmers and food bank workers are urging national lawmakers to renew the nation's farm bill before its September 30th expiration date. Why? To prevent potential food shortages as a government shutdown looms. The Farm Bill, renewed every 5 years, allocates significant funding to the agriculture sector and food assistance programs, including SNAP benefits, which were formerly known as food stamps, and the Emergency Food Assistance Program, which make up a substantial portion of the $1.5 trillion spending bill. These programs make up nearly 80% of the massive spending bill. SNAP benefits provide food banks with roughly 20% of their supply nationwide and are reliant on the Farm Bill for their funding, on local food banks for their distribution. But partisan gridlock, particularly concerning SNAP benefits funding, has hindered the bill's renewal, leaving farmers in need of government support amid a forecasted drop in net farm income and rising costs. And Newark taxpayers may see a 10% increase in their property taxes as city officials work to close an initial $6.2 million hole in next year's budget. In a recent budget presentation, Newark City Council members were told that the increase could yield an additional $447,000. The average resident would pay an extra $67.53 per year. Water rates will also be increased by 4.3%, or it's an estimated about $18 per year for the average homeowner in Newark. City expenses are expected to rise by about $3 million from last year, and the city overestimated how much that they would receive from parking fee increases. The city is expected to go before the city's Planning Commission on October 17th, with the final budget up for potential vote on November 6th. And some lucky ticket holder actually may never have to worry about taxes again. The Powerball jackpot climbed to an estimated $835 million after no grand prize winners were in Monday night's drawing. The next drawing will be Wednesday, that's tomorrow evening. Powerball officials estimate the cash value of the prize at $390 million. The odds of picking all 6 numbers for the grand prize are a little steep. It's 1 in 292 million. So may the luck be in your favor. And finally, you won't need to win the Powerball to enjoy a nice homecoming dinner at participating Burger King restaurants. With homecoming season in full swing, the Burger Giant has introduced the homecoming meal: 2 Whopper Junior sandwiches, 2 shakes, and a small order of fries and onion rings for $10. Now I'm hungry. No need to show student ID to order the meal, but if you do go to celebrate the big game, you can get into the homecoming spirit by donning that iconic gold crown. Welcome to DETV News. I'm Matt Ford. Thanks for being with us tonight. Making headlines today, a 27-year-old man is dead after a shooting in Wilmington Tuesday night. Wilmington police say they responded to the 1200 block of East 13th Street around 12:15 p.m. The location was on the west side of the Amtrak lines, not far from the Howard Young prison. The victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition, but later died. The shooting does remain under investigation, and more details will be released when possible. Anyone with information about this shooting is asked to call 302-576-3649, or you can contact Delaware Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous. And a pedestrian was struck and killed in an accident that occurred on Wilton Boulevard in Newcastle. Police say the accident occurred near the intersection of Darien Court between 9:30 and 10 o'clock Tuesday night. The road was closed for nearly 5 hours this morning. Police said this is not a hit-and-run accident. Investigators are asking anyone who may have been in the area during that time or witnessed the collision or may have video surveillance of Wilton Boulevard at the time to please call 302-395-8048 or email the address that was seen on your screen as soon as possible. And we have an update for you on the fatal shooting in the Southbridge neighborhood of Wilmington that happened Monday night. The victim who succumbed to his injuries has been identified as 24-year-old Zaire Burton. Wilmington police said they found Burton, who was shot about 8:21 p.m. on the 400 block of South Claymont Street. Anyone with information about this incident is encouraged to call 302-576-3646, or you can contact Delaware Crime Stoppers at the information seen there on your screen. And a robbery at a bakery just outside of Ellesmere is under investigation today. Police say an employee was taking out the trash at Pastel Rojas Bakery on Kirkwood Highway shortly after 3 a.m. Tuesday when someone with a handgun pushed him back inside. The suspect kept the employee at gunpoint, and 3 other workers were forced to kneel as he threatened to kill them and demanded cash from the registers as well as personal property. The victims did comply, and the suspect left without hurting anyone. The suspect is described as a male wearing a dark-colored clothing. Anyone with information about this incident is asked to call Troop 2 at 302-365-8413, or again, Delaware Crime Stoppers seen there on your screen. And a Salisbury man is charged with the 2021 murder of Corporal Keith Hecook in Delmar has chosen a bench trial over a jury trial. That's according to the Delaware Department of Justice. A bench trial is both heard and decided by a judge alone, involving no jury. In April 2021, Corporal Hecook responded to reports of a fight at a Yorkshire Estates home. Upon entering the home, Randon Wilkerson, seen here, allegedly attacked the officer. Witnesses said Wilkerson repeatedly stomped on Hecook's head while the corporal lay unconscious on the ground. Hecook was taken to a Baltimore hospital where he died 3 days later. Wilkerson faces 2 counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and assault with a possible life sentence if found guilty. The trial is slated to begin on October 16th down in Georgetown. Shifting gears to Kent County, big changes may be coming to downtown Dover, with a proposal to build a 6-story building with retail shops and apartments on South Governors Avenue. The Downtown Dover Partnership, which owns the property, announced it has signed an agreement to begin planning the site where an old Acme supermarket once stood and is now home to an Auto Parts Plus store. The partnership put out a request for qualifications to develop the nearly 2-acre site and selected Mosaic Development and its partner Colonial Parking. Mosaic Development is based in Philadelphia, while Colonial Parking, as you may know, is based here in Wilmington. The intent is to have a business plan in place in 90 days. In the plan submitted, developers envision a mixed-use structure with apartments of different sizes, a small-scale grocery store, and other amenities. The start of the construction, which will take an estimated 30 months, will depend on approvals for this site. And Bank of America has announced it's increasing its hourly minimum wage to $23 an hour. Per the wage hike, which is effective in October, is just one stop on the bank's path toward a planned $25 minimum wage by the year 2025. The bank has increased its minimum wage for workers by at least $1 an hour each year since 2019, and this year's increase marks a minimum annualized salary for full-time employees of nearly $48,000. The new minimum for BOA is almost double the state of Delaware's minimum hourly wage of $11.75. Bank of America is just the latest employer to boost its bottom wage. Other major Delaware employers have increased their minimum wages in recent years, including JPMorgan Chase, where starting ranges go between $20 and $25 an hour, depending on the market. Last year, banking giant Barclays, which has its U.S. headquarters here on the riverfront, moved its minimum wage from $17 an hour to at least $20.50. And Blue Earl Brewing Company, a prominent Delaware craft brewery, is set to close its doors for the final time at the end of this week. This marks the second major Delaware craft brewery closure in just 2 months, raising concerns about the challenges faced by local brewers. The announcement of the closure was made on the brewery's social media pages earlier this week. Blue Earl Brewing will cease operations on Saturday, ending its nearly 8.5-year presence in Smyrna. The owner attributed the brewery's closure to the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and increased competition in the alcohol market. When Blue Earl Brewing Company first opened, it was the 7th microbrewery in the first state. The brewery quickly gained recognition for its music-themed brews and its role as a music venue. The brewery joins a growing list of Delaware craft breweries that have shut down in recent years. They include Dover's Fordham and Dominion, Newport's Twin Lakes Brewing Company, and Georgetown's 16 Mile Brewing. And residents in southern Newcastle County will have a new park starting tomorrow, Thursday. Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer will cut the ribbon and officially open the 44-acre park on Shellcross Road. The park provides 1.5 acres of pathways and activities, including 8 pickleball courts, 2 tennis courts, 2 basketball courts, a playground, sledding hill. Acres of park will be left open space, which includes a pond, a meadow, and 2 multi-purpose fields. Newcastle County broke ground on the park a little less than a year ago. And take a look at this. A massive blue catfish caught in the Nanticoke River in Sussex County is a new Delaware state record. Chris Andrews, seen here, caught the fish, which weighed in at 48 pounds, 7.2 ounces, and measured 42.5 inches. It's the 4th state record of the year for the 2023 Delaware Sport Fishing Tournament. Andrews said fishing is a big part of his life, and he goes out on the water about 3 times a week. A Denrec Natural Resources Fish and Wildlife Police Sergeant certified the fish after it was weighed at a tackle shop down in Seaford. The previous state record for the blue catfish was 4 ounces lighter and was caught in 2022. And before we sign off, of all the Three's Company characters, it's not Jack, not Chrissy, and not Janet that has a nationwide fan following and their own bar crawl. Check this out. It's the curly-coiffed landlady, Mrs. Roper. Over the weekend, our very own Rehoboth Beach was the latest city to host a Mrs. Roper romp. Say that 3 times fast. Over 10 Rehoboth Beach restaurants offered food and drink specials to those in costume, as well as other surprises. 100% of the proceeds went directly to West Side New Beginnings and Rehoboth Beach Main Street. The Mrs. Roper phenomenon began 10 years ago in 2013 in New Orleans and has been growing in popularity ever since.
Hello and welcome to DETV News. I'm Lauren Wilson. Thanks for being with us. Topping the news, Newcastle County Police have identified the woman found dead at Carousel Park. She's 63-year-old Cynthia Amalfitino of Wilmington. Her body was found in the woods near a portable toilet. Investigators have deemed her death suspicious. That's why police are asking for the public's help to crack this case. Here's what we know. Amalfitino was reported missing when she didn't show up for work on Monday. Police went to her home, which is located about a half a mile from the scene. They found her car parked in front of her house. Inside were all of her personal possessions like her purse and cell phone. Police know many people walk their dogs in that park. Anyone who may have seen anything out of the ordinary is asked to contact Newcastle County Police or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-TIP-3333. And Delaware State Police are investigating a fatal pedestrian hit and run. That incident happened early this morning on I-95. Police said a 59-year-old man who has not yet been identified ran across the northbound lanes in the area of State Route 141 and was struck by a tractor trailer. Police say the driver of the truck did not stop and fled from the collision. The intersection was closed for several hours as the police reconstruction unit investigated the scene. Troopers are asking anyone who witnessed the incident to contact Delaware Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. A 20-year-old Delmar man is behind bars after Delaware State Police found him in possession of a hand grenade and a knife. Investigators say Brandon Thompson was at a Royal Farms on Sussex Highway around 1:15 a.m. pacing in the parking lot. Those inside of the convenience store say he made threatening remarks. Reports indicate he said he would blow up himself and his girlfriend. The state bomb squad was called in to take care of the grenade. Thompson had, and they said that it was a training grenade that had been modified to look like a pipe bomb. Thompson was sent to the Sussex Correctional Center. In other news, with the threat of a federal government shutdown on the clock, you may be wondering what it means to you. If lawmakers on Capitol Hill can't reach an agreement on the federal budget or a stopgap measure by Saturday, a number of things will come to a temporary halt. Here in Delaware and around the country, it would mean all non-essential workers would be furloughed. That does not include those who work at the post office, Medicare, or Social Security. Flights may be delayed. While air travel and cruises will continue, they'll do so while the Federal Aviation Administration, Customs, Border Protection, and the Transportation Security Administration are on hold. The good news is schools won't be impacted, but federally funded programs like Head Start could be in trouble if there is a lengthy shutdown. Supplemental programs like WIP and SNAP, which provide food assistance to needy residents, could also be put on hold. More news from the U.S. Capitol. It looks like the president's pooch is in trouble again. Commander, President Biden's German Shepherd, has bitten another Secret Service agent. This is the 11th time Commander has bitten a member of the security team. The latest incident happened Monday, and reports indicate the agent was not in uniform. A spokesperson for First Lady Jill Biden says the White House can be a stressful place for family pets, and the First Family is looking for ways to help Commander handle the unpredictable nature of the White House grounds. Closer to home, the city of Wilmington has issued a boil water alert for parts of Bellevue and Brandywine 100 due to a water main break. The Department of Public Works repaired the break on Carr Road. Officials say the break happened Wednesday afternoon. The city was testing the water today and expects to make an announcement tomorrow morning on whether residents need to continue boiling water from the tap. Because of the break may have affected the quality of water, city residents are advised to continue boiling water until further notice. Boiled or bottled water should be used for cooking, brushing teeth, washing dishes, and food preparation. Untreated water may carry disease-causing organisms and can cause headaches, nausea, diarrhea, and cramps. People at higher risk include infants the elderly, and those with compromised immune systems. You can find a map of the affected area and more information on the city's website, or call the Safe Drinking Water Hotline on the number found on your screen. Marking 9 years since the passing of her husband, Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester introduced a bill raising blood clot awareness in honor of her late husband. The Charles Rochester Blood Clot Prevention and Treatment Act is bipartisan legislation. It directs the Centers of Disease Control to launch a national campaign to raise awareness of blood clot symptoms and treatments. It would also establish a committee to help streamline effective diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of blood clots and pulmonary embolisms. As many as 100,000 people die each year because of blood clots. Charles Rochester was 52 when, after a pickup basketball game, blood clots traveled to his heart and lungs, which led to his untimely death. Residents south of the canal in Newcastle County now have a park to call their own. County officials cut the ribbon this morning, opening the 44-acre park on Shallcross Road. It features playing fields, basketball and pickleball courts, along with a playground for the kids. The park also includes open space and 2 meadows. County officials say it's the first park to open in Newcastle County in 20 years and is much needed in the high-growth area. And finally tonight, the Brandywine Zoo has welcomed a new addition, a baby crown lemur. The baby was born to Sophie and Kip, who came to the zoo and were paired in 2020. The lemur baby is a significant contribution to the crown lemur population in North America, bringing the total to 35 nationally. Crown lemurs are an endangered species, and their numbers are in decline. Sophie and her yet unnamed baby are not on exhibit at the zoo now and probably won't be until late fall. Check the Delaware State Parks and Brandywine Zoo Facebook pages for updates as the baby progresses. It's probably a lot of fun to watch. That's all for this edition of DETV News. Make sure to follow us across all social media platforms and take a look at our website at detvch.com. That's it for tonight. I'm Lauren Wilson. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.